Good morning, everyone. I'm Heidi Daniel, President and CEO of the Enoch Pratt Free Library. And I want to thank you for joining us for this very special One Book Baltimore event. Just a few weeks ago, we launched the 4th season of One Book Baltimore. This program helps spark a love of reading in 7th and 8th graders as they read the same book together, along with their parents, their friends, and the community. This year's selection for One Book Baltimore is Becoming Beatrice by Tami Charles. I want to thank all of our partners involved in One Book Baltimore, especially the T. Rowe Price Foundation and Baltimore City Schools. I know many of you are watching from a classroom today, so it's my pleasure to introduce to you the Chief of Communications, Engagement, and Enrollment for Baltimore City Schools, Tina Hyde-Hubbard.
Good morning, everyone. As Heidi said, I am Tina Hyde-Hubbard, Chief of Communications, Engagement, and Enrollment for Baltimore City Public Schools. I love that many of our students are out there watching this today. It's a pleasure to kick off this event on behalf of our CEO, Dr. Sonia Brookings-Santelises. We have such an exciting event planned for you today. It's a tremendous opportunity to bring reading to life across Baltimore. Ms. Charles, you have written a masterpiece that I have no doubt is already resonating deeply with our students. Beatrice, the protagonist, is someone many of our young people relate to through their own experiences as they read about her struggles and, most importantly, her dreams for herself, her family, and her community. Thank you for your commitment to sharing your gift of writing to nurture and challenge the minds of young audiences through storytelling and representation. We have the opportunity today not only to speak to a brilliant author, but a remarkable actress, dancer, choreographer, singer, songwriter, director, and producer, Debbie Allen. As many of you know, Ms. Allen is featured in the book as the idol of the protagonist, Beatrice Mendez. She's also the tough and deeply committed dance instructor and mentor to the students pursuing dance in the 80s television show Fame that I was a huge fan of. This book is a wonderful example of how idols and mentors play an indelible role in our lives. As is the case of many of our youth in Baltimore City, Beatrice is faced with the difficult task of balancing responsibility, grief, and trauma while making space for dreams and resiliency. I'm looking forward to hearing these two extraordinary women unpack all of this powerful book Becoming Beatrice has to offer.
I want to encourage all of you to visit your local library where programming surrounding the themes of One Book Baltimore, which we just discussed, will be held through the end of the year. The programming would not be possible without the support of the T. Rowe Price Foundation. So please join me in welcoming President of that foundation, John Brothers.
Thank you, Heidi. And first, I just want to say thank you to all the students who are here today. I was telling my wife this morning that I was going to precede a conversation with Debbie Allen, and she went into at least 25 minutes of every Fame quote that she loved. And so I quickly had to run out of the house to make sure that I wasn't late. But we are just so excited to have this conversation. Tami has written an amazing book, and as we thought of what one book would be for the city, the goal was to get all the middle school students reading the same book, but then being so inspired by this book that they would go out into community and start to work and make their communities better places to be. And that has happened, continues to happen, and we're just so excited to partner with the Pratt Library, with Baltimore City Public Schools, and all the other partners to make this such an amazing yearly event. And so I want to thank you, the students, teachers, and staff of the schools, but also all the partners. Thank you so much. Look forward to today.
Great. Now let's get to today's special event. Debbie Allen is an internationally recognized director, choreographer, dancer, author, and actor with a career spanning 3 decades. Allen has won 3 Emmy Awards, a Golden Globe, 5 NAACP Image Awards, and many more honors. She has 4 honorary doctorate degrees and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Allen has a massive list of credits as an actor, director, and producer, including her current role on Grey's Anatomy. And of course, in the show Fame, I've been singing the theme song all week, and you've heard it referenced here also. She also plays a key role in the book Becoming Beatrice, and today she's in conversation with One Book Baltimore writer Tami Charles. It's my pleasure to welcome Debbie Allen and Tami Charles to the Pratt stage.
Thank you.
Hello. Thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you, Heidi. Tami, oh my God, enough about me. It's really about you and this amazing career as a writer and the books that you've captured the heartbeat of so many young people, millions of young people. This is everything. And I'm just happy to be in the room with you. I know we've tried to connect so many times. So
That's okay. I'm still coming back out to LA.
okay, okay. This will be good.
So we met a few years ago, actually. I flew to LA to take your Salsa Sunday class. Miss Debbie, you kicked my butt. Okay. Let me tell you.
But
I
you
did
learned
not keep up.
But you did learn how to salsa though, didn't you?
It was such a good class,
Okay, that's
and it was everything I needed just to share space with you, because I was in the process of writing Becoming Beatrice,
yeah.
and I said I just need to be there with her. So thank you so much. This is full circle for me to have this moment with you. So let's get it started.
Okay.
I want to talk about the theme. So the theme for One Book Baltimore this year is resilience. And I can't think of a better part of your life's journey that embodies this theme of resilience than the time when you auditioned for the Houston Ballet. I think you were around 12, which is around the age that our students today are in middle school. So, can you tell them about this pivotal time in your life and how it sort of changed the trajectory of where you are now?
Well, actually, my mother tried to enroll me when I was 8 years old, but because of racial segregation, I was not allowed to try. So mom shifted us. We went to Mexico. We did a lot of things. And then finally, there was an audition, a citywide audition. The Russian teacher was looking for that one student. And my gym teacher in my public school said, Debbie, you need to come and do this. Deborah, because that was really what everyone called me before I got here. Deborah. Deborah, you need to come. So I went to the audition and I was selected after many years of trying to get in, having to change this. And, resilience is about being able to adjust
Yeah.
to circumstance or challenges. And how do you keep navigating your way, stay on your path? And thank God for my mom, Vivian Ayers. I finally landed as the first Black student in the Houston Ballet Foundation, which is an internationally acknowledged and acclaimed company now that boasts the first Black ballerina, Lauren Anderson. So it's amazing how times change.
Yeah. So you really, wow, you really broke barriers with that at the age of 12, which is incredible. And I love what you said about your mom. I feel so strongly about both of my parents. My mom is a former educator. Just tiny bit off script. I saw an interview where this was a while back. I want to say it was like 1985, and the interviewer asked, who are you inspired by? And you talked about your mom and how your mom raised you in such a way that she made you believe that you could do anything. And look at you now. You literally do all the things. So
Yeah.
that's very inspiring.
Yeah, I encourage parents to really try to find a way. It's very difficult, especially in the arts, becoming so privatized. And money is a problem. It's a problem here. But try to find a way to keep your children dreaming. Because if you can dream and envision yourself somewhere, that's how it really happens.
I love that. So I want to know more about middle school, Debbie.
Yes.
So tell me, I know that you love the arts. We all know that, but what else did you love in middle school? Like, what were some of your favorite subjects or clubs?
I loved history. History was one of my favorite subjects. I was always curious about our past and what happened back then. I fancied myself actually as being an archaeologist at one point because I wanted to go that far back in time, to go on digs and uncover layers of civilization that we might come to understand. I was like that as a kid. So I loved that. And I always loved science. I always loved science because I always, again, was very curious living in Houston, Texas, with a wide open sky. I used to contemplate the universe. I would gaze at the stars and wonder, where did it go? How
Hmm.
far did it go? And how do I fit in?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's deep. Okay. So fast forward past middle school and high school. I know you went to Howard,
Yes.
HBCU. Very cool. Tell me about, what was life like after college? Like, I want to know about that first big break.
Well, that first big break after college, I went to Howard University, which had an extraordinary faculty of brilliant Black professors that nurtured my mind, my body, and my spirit. So by the time I graduated and I was on my way to New York, I was determined to go to work. I was determined not to work in anything other than my field. And so I auditioned for Philip Rose and Lewis Johnson for Pearlie. And I just remember that was the first like Broadway show. And I only had one scene in the beginning and one scene in the end where I danced. And everyone thought I was really exciting, but there wasn't very much in between. So I got to Broadway and ended up realizing I needed to really dance. So I left that company and joined a dance company, George Faison's Universal Dance Experience. That was the real big break for me because it was through George Faison that I really developed. I had met him years ago before when he was a principal dancer with Alvin Ailey. And with George Faison, I was able to travel the country, realize myself as a principal dancer, expand my dance vocabulary, meet so many amazing people in the world like Miles Davis. And oh my God, we played Lincoln Center, we played the UN. It was an incredible opportunity for me to blossom in a very creative little nest, George.
So you left college, you go to New York with this one dream to dance. Did you have a backup plan? Or was it just like, no, this is it. I'm going to make it no matter what?
Sometimes you have to just say, this is what I'm going to do. And you have to stick to it. This is about tenacity and belief. Belief, you know that might be something. Is that me making noise? I don't know. I hear noise. Anyway, you have to believe in yourself. And if you get to where you know this is who you are, and you can know this is at a young age. I knew this when I was 8 years old. I knew this when I was 5 years old, that I wanted to dance, that is what I wanted to become. And I wanted to be up there with Katherine Dunham and Fred Astaire and Shirley Temple. I was watching movies as a kid. So I believed that was my calling. And even though I had some, segues and interference on the way, staying on that path and just believing this. So not taking a job as a secretary or not taking a job doing something other than what I do. Actually going hungry for a while, not having the money, just, sticking it out. It's like being a soldier. You stick it out in battle and you stay the course, and then you might just win.
I love that. I can't stop smiling, Miss Debbie. I can't even believe this is happening. Okay, so speaking of resilience, and that your whole story is one of resilience, to me and so many others, you are a living legend. Growing up, though, who were some of your living legends? And I want to know if you met them the way I met you. And I would love to know how that went, because when I tell you, when I met you, ooh, I was so nervous and so excited at the same time. But I want to know about your living legend.
Well, I think when I met the Alvin Ailey Company when I was a teenager in the dance festival one summer, the summer of, I think it was probably 68. I met Judith Jamison. I met Dudley Williams. I met Alvin Ailey. I met Martha Graham. I met Twyla Thorpe, these giants in the dance world. And they were in what was called the New London Dance Festival, which is now Spoleto in the Carolinas. But that summer, I trained with all of them. And oh my God, it was like a power. It was like I got plugged into a power surge to be in the classroom with them, to be on the dance floor with them, just to have them respond to me and make me feel like Judy and Dudley wanted me to join the company because we learned a variation from Revelations, and I was killing it. I wanted to go so bad, but Alvin said I was too young and my parents didn't want me to quit school. And I was like, child, please, I need to go. But meeting all of them in that one summer, that was unbelievable for me. And then when I got to LA, I was in a show called Three Girls Three and introduced to Hollywood. Oh my God. And I met Warren Beatty and I met Shirley MacLaine and I met, oh my God, I met all these people that I had seen in films or had admired from afar. But the good thing was I felt like I belonged. I felt like I belonged to be in that crew.
Okay, so you reached this moment of feeling like you belong. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I put on some headphones just to block out any other noise. So we have to talk about fame.
Yeah.
Okay. You probably get this all the time, but like this was such an iconic show.
Yeah.
I had to write about it just a little bit because I remember seeing you on this show while growing up. And trust me, I did all the things. I did my ballet, tap, jazz. I did that because of you, Miss Debbie. So I'm sure everyone who's watching, we all want to know about your experience with the film and the TV series. Do you feel like this was a realistic depiction of life in a performing arts school?
I actually do, because Gene Anthony Ray, Leroy, was the real Leroy at LaGuardia. He actually got kicked out of school for being defiant and adamant and talking back. But he had this, okay, I don't know. I'm not sure who that is. Is that my phone?
That's you, Miss Debbie. You're a busy lady.
Take this, turn it off. Gene Anthony Ray embodied the spirit of those kids. Okay. Gene Anthony Ray came from uptown. He had no real advocates in the world of theater and arts, but he had this raw talent, this raw gift that needed nurturing. So in the TV show Fame, this is what we did. We took Leroy, who was really being challenged academically, but had this power. We pulled him in, and for years we continued to sculpt and navigate and help him find his way. The teachers, Sharofsky and the Miss Sherwood, very real. There's no such thing as a performing arts school that doesn't have the academics and a full curriculum that is inclusive of other arts. And the students. I felt that it was really a very realistic portrayal. Of course, we were dancing all the time, but that's what they do anyway. It's so true. In the real world, when the dancers, when we would come out of class and on our way from ballet class, if we heard a beat, we was in the park, in Central Park, we'd drop everything and start dancing.
Start dancing, yeah.
This is what we did. So I think it was beyond a realistic portrayal. It was an inspirational portrayal that touched the world, because when we came out, we were as popular as the Beatles. The soundtracks from our shows were #1 sellers, still out, have a historic number of record sales. We went to Spain, to Israel. We went all over the world. And by the time I was back on Broadway doing Sweet Charity with Bob Fosse, there were tons and tons, thousands of people that came to see the show because of fame. I remember coming outside the theater one night and everybody had this very interesting accent, and they were all from South Africa at a time when apartheid was still in effect, but yet they were all there to see me in this show, a Black woman. And that spoke volumes about the power of what fame did to ignite the world, inspire the world, and get everybody singing and dancing. I think we could really, Tami, fix a lot of the problems in the world right now if I could get some of these children in dance class, some of these politicians, some of these heads of state. Let them at the ballet bar with me just 1 hour. I might be able to fix things.
Well, I can attest, because I took 1 hour of a class with you. You fixed my whole life. I got my life all the way together after that class.
I love that.
Okay, so I want to talk about this amazing speech that you gave when you received your governor's award. First of all, you looked stunning. Absolutely stunning. We need a separate conversation about your beauty tips. That's for another day. So in this speech, you stated that it takes a lot of courage to be the only woman in the room most of the time. You also said that it took fight and faith. I'm an author, so I love the little play on words there, the fight and the faith. I want to know, where'd the fight come from? Who gave that to you? But I also want to know the faith part. Like, where'd you find that? The fight and the faith.
Well, Tami, that's a great question, because I have to turn it all back to my mom, Vivian Ayers. She raised me, Felicia, my brother Tex, and even my brother Huey, with a sense that you have to be passionate about what you're doing. And sometimes you might have the challenge of being that one that has to stand up to move the needle forward. You have to stand up. You have to plow your way through. I watched Mama plow her way through as a poet. I mean, who was a poet in Texas? What Black woman was a poet in Texas in the late 50s, 60s? Not much company for her in a family that didn't quite understand. So I watched my mother plow and fight to continue to stay with her artistry and struggle and fight for opportunities for us. It was a fight to take us out of this country when we couldn't train here, to take us someplace that would invite us. We went to Mexico. That was a big fight. Mom was always that. And we were also in that whole world of the civil rights movement. I grew up with that. I grew up, Martin Luther King came to the house for dinner when he was marching. And
your house?
To our house, yes. She was friends with my stepmother, Eleanor Allen, and I have pictures of him holding my baby brother then, Huey. He was a baby. He came and had dinner. So we were surrounded with leadership and people that knew we had to push as Black people to get where we were trying to go. We had to push. I couldn't get to that dance school right away, but eventually I got there. You have to push. And the faith part is believing in what you're standing for, believing in your cause, believing in yourself. Young people today need to go and really look in that mirror and know who is looking back. There's a blood memory in every child that is watching this today. If they're 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. Their cultural identity is in their soul, but where they're going to go has to do with their faith and their belief and what they think the world might need that they can give, what they think who they can become. That is belief. I've always believed I could become Debbie Allen, and here I am. It didn't just happen overnight. It was a lot of hard work.
Wow. I feel like I'm in church. I got my pen. I got my pad. I'm over here taking notes like, okay, blood memory.
Yeah.
I never heard of that. That is beautiful.
Through your veins. It's in your veins. Blood memory.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Speaking of becoming, I know that you are just like all these great things. You're a writer, you're a choreographer, singer-songwriter. I heard your songs. I remember that. Dancer, actress, producer, director. I really could just keep going on and on. I'm sure I've forgotten a few things. But what haven't you done yet? And who are you still becoming?
That's a really good question. There's some really important things that I want to do. I would like to take some of the work that I have created over the years and turn them into films to share them with the world. Like the movie Amistad. When I found out about the Amistad incident by chance reading a book, it took 18 years to make that into a movie because I knew that the classrooms and the history books wouldn't catch up in time and a movie would leave an impact. And I still believe in the art of theater and film as a way to inspire, motivate, and initiate change. So there's some works of mine that I would love to make into films, and I'm having conversations now about trying to raise the money to do that. I still would very much love to direct opera, which was my first professional experience as a young girl in the corps de ballet of the Gypsy Baron and Aida. I have a love and affinity to opera, and I feel like there's young audiences are waning, and there's a way to pull them back in if we can, reimagine some of the ways opera is presented. I would like to do that.
And I want to see all of that. I will be right there in the front row. Okay, so I saw an interview that you did with Twitch. Love him. That was a great interview. You talked about your experience when you were the recipient of the Kennedy Center Honors.
Yeah.
There was one thing that you said that stood out to me, and you talked about going to the White House and meeting President Biden, but then you mentioned how you were so shocked that there was a pool in the backyard, which I didn't know that either. Who knew? What other kind of fun surprises have you experienced like that in your journey?
Oh, well, it's meeting people. I remember when Felicia and I first went to hear Barack Obama, who was running for president in New York City, in a big theater, filled with a sea of white hair mostly. And there we were. And we were so motivated by his speech and excited. We had never, Oprah introduced him to the world, and we went to see him. And we stood at a distance wanting to get close. And they said, no, it's too busy, and these are main donor people that he's meeting. And we kind of looked a little disenchanted from afar. He saw us. He said, Debbie, Felicia, come over here. He knew us. He knew who we were.
Of course he did.
No, but I mean, no.
You are Debbie Allen, okay?
Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen. He was like, come over. And he went past Secret Service, brought us over there. And then he told me how much his wife made him watch So You Think He Can Dance. It was just nice to have a moment with someone that was such a real person. I mean, we thought so, but it was that moment that it became very real. Um, that was one experience. And I guess the other was when I went with George Bush to host his National Black Music Day in June. And they gave me a room in the White House. It was incredible.
To sleep?
To stay and rest. And I could
Really?
food I wanted. I stole all the napkins and all.
Yes.
I took everything.
Did you take the teas? Because
everything?
I do that, especially if it's like some fancy bougie tea I never even tried. I'm taking that tea.
I took everything. And it was really something because then I heard this commotion outside the door and I opened and I saw the Secret Service chasing after the dog. They were trying to catch his dog. Anyway, it was just something to be in the White House. And then President Bush was so warm. And it was interesting because I really tried not to like him, but you couldn't help but really like him because he was such a genuine person. And that's what we need in our leadership today that's missing. We have leaders that are just following blindly down paths and they're not really being who they are. And they're not really connecting with the people. They're not hearing the people. They're not representing the people. And that's something that young people need to understand because they're going to inherit this world. One day they will be able to vote and do everything. And they need to know now, look at who is representing them. And leadership is something that everybody can't own. A lot of people land in a position of leadership that they don't deserve. And we have to be able to recognize that. And we have to know that we should be able to do something about that.
Oh, Miss Debbie, you are dropping some gems. Wisdom. Okay, so I want to talk about this middle school. You talked about it with Twitch. Our audience today, these are the wonderful 7th and 8th graders, Baltimore City Schools. Tell us about this middle school. Why are you doing this? And how can people get involved if they would like to?
So this has been a dream for me for a decade. And right in the middle of COVID, I said, okay, we're going to do it. And some of my staff were like, we can't do it. I said, we are going to do it. And I just know that education, the educational system needs to be rebooted and revamped and revitalized, and new methods of teaching need to be discovered. Education should be a period of discovery, not like a penance and pain and, a burden. But young people should be curious when they go to school. They should be curious and have teachers that spark their curiosity. So combining the arts with education is almost a no-brainer. It's something that we've been talking about for forever. If every public school would implement a dance program, a film and television drama program, they would see an increase in their attendance. You would have like 99.9% attendance. If they wanted to be a part of these programs, they have to do both. So I am just kind of starting. I started this season with the 6th grade, and I have an amazing 2 women, Dolores Bond and Mitzi Lizarraga, who actually comes from the DC area. She was one of my students when she was a kid, that developed the curriculum, and we are teaching and they are dancing. And it's a process. This is a process of discovery. So we started the school. It's a private school because we are focused on dance art. So we had people that really are serious about dance. That is their inroad, so to speak, or how they start, but we'll end up taking them in many different places. So the 6th grade this year, next year, 6th and 7th, and the following 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's the middle school. That's what I'm looking for. And these are the 10, 11, the 10 and 11-year-olds that I get started with, because right now, this is when I feel like I could really make a difference in their lives.
I agree. Yeah, that middle school age, this is like right around the time when they are starting to think about who they will become.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's genius. I think it's so lovely of you to give back in this way. Why do you continue to give back? Because I mean, you've been doing this for a long time through Dada, your dance school, all of the charities that you have aligned yourself with. I mean, technically, you could take a break. You've done enough. But why do you keep going? What is that about you that just keeps you going?
You know what, Tammy? Honestly, I have to say this. It has landed to be a real significant purpose in my life to be able to give opportunity to young people. I'm always in my head that kid in Texas who wanted to go to the dance school and couldn't, who wanted to go to the show and couldn't. And I know right now young people are marginalized by zip code, by money, economics, and this is Black, Latino, Asian, white kid, all kids. There needs to be a referendum on education and opportunity for young people, because it's not fair that they go and they don't get everything. So the arts to me is vital in the lives of our young people in our community. I'm teaching class to elders. I have a class called Calibri Arts that's 65 to 95-year-olds. I have a class called Joy, Journey of Yourself for cancer patients. This might be one of the most emotional classes I've ever taught in my life, when I have a room filled with 45 or 50 people who are in different stages of their diagnosis in battling cancer, and dance becomes the transformative art that helps them find their courage and find some joy. So I don't know. I keep thinking of things, and maybe one day I don't know. It's who I am, which is why I promote curiosity with my young people and the people that I teach, because it is that keeps you're trying to figure it out. We're trying to find a way of doing. When COVID hit, we immediately overnight became a virtual studio. We didn't know how to do it, but because I said we're not going to close. We are going to keep teaching. We figured it out. I had my first virtual dance class on my Instagram, had like 40,000 people all over the world taking
I was there.
taking my class. Can you imagine? I had no idea it would be that, but I knew that the world needed to not stop touching and moving with dance. And it really helped people. I go to the grocery store now, or I'm at a stoplight, and people will say, Miss Allen, and people I don't know or may never see again, your class really helped me. And I still take it. And it warms my heart, and it makes me feel that I am making the world better, and I'm a productive patriot. I care about my country and my community. That's why. And so I'll keep doing it, and I need help. I need so much help right now. Oh God, the line is just getting longer at that school, and it's private, and I got to raise, we said, okay, they have to pay. But Lord, the people that came, they wanted to be there, and everybody couldn't pay. We went to people to try to get money. So money is always the thing, but money mustn't be the end game here. You can't let money stop you. You have to figure out a way. You got to figure out a way.
Wow. Thank you so much for leaving this legacy for all of us to witness and be a part of. I wish you so much success with your school, and I hope everyone gets involved and spreads the word. What is the name? What will the name be?
Well, right now we're calling it the Debbie Allen Middle School.
Okay.
Maybe if some great philanthropist wants to give us a big support, we'll name it after them. I don't have that kind of ego. I'm just here
Let me call Oprah for you real quick. Hold on, let me write this down. Oprah, help! But I think you will hit your goals. I think people will just want to rally around you because you have this extreme purpose, and who doesn't want to be a part of that? So before I pass the mic, I would like to venture to think that there's so many dreamers in our audience today, and you spoke so eloquently about dreams. For the students of Baltimore, what would you like to leave them with your parting words before we bring in their questions?
Well, I would say you are in Baltimore, which is right in the close to the epicenter of the heartbeat of the United States, Washington, D.C. There is so much there. You may not know, but if you go and start to dig in, you can find opportunity to develop your interests. Engage your parents. I told my mom when I was like 6, how am I going to become a great dancer if I don't have class? I said that to her when I was 6 and 7 year olds. So you have to help your parents understand who you are. You have to, be serious, and you will get their respect if you do your homework and you clean up your room.
Oh, heavy on the clean up the room. My son is in middle school. I wish he was here. I'm going to show him that you said that. Okay. So, speaking of middle school students, I would love to bring in a student moderator who has some questions for you, and I believe for me as well. But before I bring them in, let me read their bio. 5 is an 8th grader at City Springs Elementary Middle School. Hi, 5.
Hi.
5 represents the best Baltimore City Public Schools has to offer. They are a member of the City Springs Honors Program, a leader of the Free to Be Me Club, and a member of our Student Mentoring Program. 5 hopes to attend Baltimore City College High School before attending New York University and majoring in photography. Take it away, 5.
Hello. I have some questions. I'm going to start off with Miss Allen. First, I would like to say I'm a huge fan, Miss Allen.
Thank you.
But I know you talked about this. I know you talked about why you started dancing, but could you go more into depth on why you started dancing?
Well, honestly, 5, I can't remember not wanting to dance. I remember myself at 4 years old. I remember myself at 3 years old. There's certain things that make me remember being in front of the Christmas tree dancing, being in the front yard and in the backyard dancing. And I think that I was born into this world that is part of my spirit. I really do believe that. And then I was inspired as a kid. Television became a big thing. Color TV happened. And I was able to watch all of these musical films on Saturdays. They used to show all the MGM movies, and I saw all the great artists. And I just saw not maybe someone that looked like me, but someone doing what I knew I could do, or maybe do it better, or do it my way. And so that is how I knew.
Everybody has been doing it the Debbie Allen way, I guess. So another question, what is your favorite place you have performed?
Ooh, that's a tough, well, the favorite place or the favorite performance. It's hard to say. I would say that the Broadway production where I played Anita in West Side Story on Broadway might have been one of the most dynamic moments in my career as I was coming up. To be in the room with Leonard Bernstein, Jerome Robbins, Arthur Lawrence, Stephen Sondheim, to have those masters giving me notes of my performance, but every night kicking it out. That might be one of my favorite.
Well, now you're doing it your way and you're critiquing other people. How did school help you with your career?
School helped me because school educated me. I had really great teachers, and school made me understand that there was other realms of interest that I could really explore. I had teachers who recognized my ability and nurtured it. I actually was in the symphony orchestra. I played bass, classical bass. I was in every musical, and I was brought in by the teachers to do the choreography. I was a kid, but they knew that I knew more about dance than most of them. Um, and school made me understand that in this world there is, when you go, when I went to high school, it's a microcosm of a city. The ones who are, there's this group, there's the mean girl group, there's the very intelligent girl group, there's the in-between girl group, there's the artistic girl group, and in between there's a lot of other things. So just finding your space for me to find where I belonged, because I was in so many groups. I was in the honor roll. I was ended up being the majorette. I was dancing. My boyfriend was captain of the football team. So I was, there was a part of me, I was most versatile in my class. And school made me understand how to navigate between all of these different pods, if you will, and still be standing. I mean, I remember one day there was a group of girls that were ready to whip my butt. And just over nothing, just because I was good at twirling a baton, Alicia stepped in there, backed them up, and then they all, they stood down. So it just said to me, in a world like this, you have to have a family, a community that can also embrace you, guide you, and protect you. Being by yourself is not the best idea. You can be the one who can stand up by yourself. You can say those difficult things that nobody else has to say. But it really is important that you find your community within the community.
Great advice. Do you have any advice for younger dancers?
Yes, I do. Take it seriously. Train. Get off of TikTok. Learn something more than 2/8. I love TikTok. It's cute. One of my best students has 7 million followers. John Victor. Go look him up. 7 million. But at the end of the day, he's in ballet class. He's in modern class. He's in class and expanding his technique and his ability. So don't get this cute thing of a moment of fame. You have to have some skill if you want to go the journey. If you want to end up dancing next to somebody like me, I need you to have some skill. So go to class.
Have you done any of the TikTok dances?
I did. Yes, I did. My students made me do it. Come on, Miss Allen. So I did it. We got like almost 1 million views on one. I said, okay, I did it. And you got it. So I'm in the world because I'm with young people every day that influence me. So I may sign back on any minute now. We'll see.
My next questions are for Miss Charles. How did you become a writer?
Oh, I've been writing since I was 5, probably. So my mom is a former teacher and vice principal and principal at the school that I attended. So imagine that. Reading books, I just didn't have a choice. So, but I loved it. My mom was always giving me books, and these books, I would read them and I would imagine myself writing my own stories. But I have to tell you, growing up, representation was somewhat of an issue. Like the books that I read, those were not characters who looked like the kids in my neighborhood. So growing up, I didn't really think I could become an author, but that kind of changed once I became a teacher. I found that there were way more diverse books than when I was a child. And I decided to give my dreams a second chance. I had stuck them in my back pocket, and it was my students who kind of said, "Hey, Miss Charles, you should try to become published." So I'm thankful for that and them.
What activities did you enjoy during middle school?
Oh man. Maybe I was a mini Debbie Allen when I was in middle school. Listen, I'm serious. I loved books, so I read them. I wrote poetry. I took all forms of dance growing up. I was even in a singing group. Okay, I thought I was gonna be the next Beyonce and Destiny's Child. Like I literally tried so many different forms of art because it was just so instrumental in shaping me as a human being. So, yeah, in middle school, you would have found me in just about every performing arts possible.
Are you writing any new books right now?
I am. Top secret.
Ooh. What is your favorite book you've read?
One of the earliest books that I read where I felt like, oh wow, I can relate to this. I see me. It was The Bluest by Toni Morrison. Very inspirational book. In fact, it inspired my very first book, Like Vanessa, which is a companion to Becoming Beatrice. So The Bluest had a great impact on me as a young kid.
Do you have any advice for people who want to be writers?
Yes, very much in the vein of what Miss Allen just said when she said, you have to train, take classes. To be a writer, writers must write, but you can't just write, you have to read too. So my job as a writer is to really devour as many books in as many genres that I can. And it's just important for me to, you ever see a horse in a race and they have these things on their eyes and they're just focused on their own lane. You have to have that sense of dedication every single day. Get in a chair and write.
My next questions are for the both of you. What was your experience like in middle school?
No.
You go, Miss Debbie.
Okay. I had a really great middle school experience. It was, a step up from elementary school. It was a step up below high school, but it was like the beginning of wanting to become more social with young people, parties, bands, performances. But it was also that time where I really got very serious about my dance training and knowing that I really needed to be focused on that. I had a lot of great friends in middle school that are still my good friends right now today. So made great friends for life.
Yeah, for middle school, for me, I just remember doing a bunch of different performing arts. Like I mentioned earlier, I took all forms of dance, but I think right around the age of 13 is when I thought I would become very serious about singing. That's when I entered a singing group. And boy, did we try. This was before American Idol and The Voice and all these popular shows. But I remember feeling like this is my dream. I want to be in the performing arts. And that's what really shaped me in middle school. There was a little bit of bullying because there's always going to be someone who comes around and tries to, shoot your dream down, but you can't let that happen. You just got to keep going.
Yeah. Sticking to the topic of you all being younger, who influenced you growing up?
Oh, well, I certainly obviously was influenced by my parents, my mother and my father, but I was inspired by certain works and certain people in the field. I was inspired by their work when I was a kid, and we didn't have but 2 movie theaters that we could go to. I remember one Christmas, the big event of that Christmas was going to see Porgy and Bess, which had become a big feature film. And in that film, I saw the incredible artists that were in the movie that were inspirational. Saw Carmen Jones, saw Dorothy Dandridge, and Harry Belafonte. I was inspired a lot by images I saw in films and pictures I saw in books. There weren't any books at that time that had any black ballerinas, which is what I wanted to become. I wanted to be a ballerina when I started. I didn't see that, but I saw performances that it made me want to do what I saw. And maybe somewhere I saw Catherine Dunham as a child, Catherine Dunham in a movie. So movies had a big influence on me as a child.
Okay, so for me, who influenced me growing up? She is on the screen. Listen, I'm going to be telling this story to the day I die. Let me tell you, she is right on the screen. Miss Debbie, you have really influenced me to become the very best that I can be. No, I did not become a professional singer or dancer, but I found my lane. It's here.
Fantastic.
You know, and I can't thank you enough for making time to really just be a light and inspire. I'm still growing. I'm still becoming someone better. So I have you to thank. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my parents. They're watching right now, Jennifer and Toni Peters, my greatest inspirations.
I have another question. Do you have any regrets? Like, do you regret anything?
I have an answer for that. Mine is no. To tie it back to the book, Becoming Beatrice, the main character, she's made some mistakes. And right now you're at an age where you are going to make some mistakes and maybe you'll have some regrets. I mean, I'm still learning and growing, but do I have any regrets? No. I believe that there's a blessing in every lesson. So there's nothing that I would change in my life's journey. All I can do is just try to become better. Every day you have a chance to become someone better and someone new. So no regrets.
I ditto that totally. I wouldn't change my life's journey. It's all part of me becoming who I am. And the tough times, there've been tough times, there've been good times, there've been scary times, but all of those times define you as a human being and make you know who you are and make you know that you feel, that you still feel things. That's important.
Okay.
Nice.
Back to the topic of middle school. If you could go back in time and give advice to your middle school self, what advice would you give yourself?
What advice?
I got something.
You go.
My advice is pretty simple. Just, it's okay to be you. You don't have to be like anyone else. From the clothes you wear to the types of music that you like or the books that you read, you are okay just the way you are. Do not let anyone try to question you or make you rethink your choices. Like, just be confident in yourself. That's my advice.
I would say that if there was a way, I would just show more gratitude to my parents and my family who made it possible. That's, I think I did, but when I think back, I just was going through it. I don't know if I showed enough gratitude for what they did to make things possible for me.
Oh, that's great advice. Yes, I think I could have done the same. But, I was in middle school. I thought I knew everything. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad. I try to honor my parents every day, though. Every day I try to show my gratitude. Well, Miss Debbie and Five, it has been such an amazing experience speaking with you. I believe I'm going to wrap it up and turn it back to Felix at the Pratt Library. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I want to say it's been my honor, privilege, and pleasure to spend this time with you, Tami, and to say hi and meet you, Five. How grateful we are to the library. This is a library is a place where so many dreams are born, and that is a powerful global network that we don't want to lose because we're all reading books online. It's nice to pick up a book and feel it.
Smell it. I like the smell of a book.
Yeah.
Thank you all, Miss Allen, Miss Charles, Five. Thank you all so much for making this a reality. I don't know if my voice is shaking. I'm kind of nervous because it's Debbie Allen.
We all are.
My name is Felix Avila, and I'm the Young Adult Programming Specialist at the Enoch Pratt Free Library. And on behalf of the Pratt, as I said, I want to thank Miss Allen, Miss Charles, and Five for taking the time to make this program as outstanding as it was. And a thank you to our partners at T. Rowe Price, the Baltimore City Public Schools, and WBA LTV 11 for helping One Book Baltimore, come to life. And thank you all in the audience for joining us. Please remember that the Pratt Library is hosting One Book Baltimore programs throughout our system. You can find the link where all those events are happening earlier in the chat. And this is going to include the coming student showcase. So please be on tap for that. We'd also appreciate it if you fill out the survey posted a few moments ago. It'll help us create inclusive and responsive events for our patrons and community. So again, Miss Allen, Miss Charles, Five, thank you. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Stay in touch, Tami.
I will. I'm going to text you.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.